Hey everyone, this is Mike with the One Stop Co-op Shop, and today we're looking at a game currently on Kickstarter, Role Player Adventures. This game actually was not on our schedule to cover as of last week, but I got the chance to play it with Jeremy Howard and some other great people this weekend, and I enjoyed it so much I wanted to kind of fit it in, so we're doing it today, and we pushed Hero Realms to tomorrow. And I'm going to do a full playthrough of the first adventure, which is pretty much considered an intro adventure. It's shorter than a regular one. And if you go to the Kickstarter page, which I have linked in the video, you can play through the same adventure. They have it on both Tabletop Simulator and Tabletopia. I'm doing TTS since I'm more familiar with that, but it works great on both. As always, we receive no compensation for our Kickstarter coverage. We just like to help you make decisions on games you might want to check out. And if you like what you see here at the One Stop Co-op Shop, join the conversation on our Slack or Discord, listen to our weekly podcast every Sunday, and consider supporting us on Patreon for some great perks. So Role Player Adventure is within the same universe as Role Player, which is more of a dice manipulation game to build a character and get the most victory points. But here you can either use a pre-generated character, make a character, or take one from your game of Role Player and import it in, but you're going to play an adventure in the vein of a choose-your-own-adventure book. So prepare yourselves, you're going to hear me doing a lot of reading, but I am going to use timestamps to show where the kind of more mechanically driven encounters happen, so if you just want to see how the dice part of the game works, you can skip to those, and I'll explain the rules for those when I get to them. My character is an orc rogue, Lashuk Gula, I think that's kind of a hard font to read. I picked her because I love playing rogues in RPGs, and she has a really cool backstory where her twin sister is in captivity, and basically we have this magical connection where the wounds that she's suffering, I'm suffering too, so I want to save her before she's killed. And this is a pre-generated character, so you can see up here her statistics and her cards. The stats go over here and tell you to have a certain number of stamina cubes for each of your stats, so as a rogue should be, she's great at dexterity, but terrible at intelligence. I'd probably be more charming if I was a rogue, but hey, you can't have everything. I also get a class ability card that you'll see more of when we get to the dice portion of the game, as well as 7 cards to start out, and again, these came pre-generated, but we'll get into how all of these work when we have our first encounter. So let's jump right into the story. Your adventure begins. As a King's Guard soldier in the regiment of Commander Zalek, a dark elf, you have fought a long war. The Dragul, a coalition of northern tribes, invaded Nalos, your homeland. After many battles, you have driven off their hordes, but rumors spread through the camp of a new Dragul plot. One night, you are summoned to Commander Zalek's tent, where you find him arguing over a map with General Grick, an orc. A gold coin marks the southern city of Sabek. A vial of elixir marks a swamp to the west. General Grick raises an eyebrow when you enter. "So you're Zalek's best?" he asks, looking you over skeptically. "We have a special mission for you, but first a question of strategy. Zalek wants to take your regiment south to investigate a threat to the capital," says Grick, pointing to the coin. Then, pointing to the vial, "I think we should push west and capture a powerful Dragul agent in the swamps. What say you?" So do we side with General Grick to learn more about Dragul plots, or side with Commander Zalek to investigate threats to the capital? And I'll be honest, I saw one half of these choices when I played this weekend, so I'm going to go the other way, and in this case, I'm going to side with Commander Zalek and investigate threats to the capital. You point to the coin, and General Grick pats you on the back with pity. "Well," he says, "good luck to you." He collects his vial of elixir and exits the tent. Now, this is going to be one of the first mechanical things. We're going to record the keyword Zalek. So back in Tabletop Simulator, you'll see on our little campaign sheet, we have this keyword here. And in the actual game, you'll have a piece of paper you can write on. So we're just going to write Zalek there, and now that might affect things later in our adventure. "Grick wouldn't hear my counsel," says Commander Zalek, "and he won't hear yours either. But I'm glad to know I have your trust. As for your mission, leave now and travel due east until you reach a small enemy encampment. A special operative of King Taran will meet you there." Commander Zalek rolls up the map. "You can keep the coin," he says. "Gain 1 gold. So starting gold is based on the number of players in the party. I've got 7, and let's turn that into 8. You make haste under a crescent moon, crossing burnt and abandoned farmland into open prairie. At the top of a bluff, you look out over a dark lake to a wooden outpost. Okay, so we're going to go to the map, place our party marker at location A, and read entry A. So this red marker here is our party marker, and right now we're on location A, the Boorlin Prairie, and setup had us put these 2 encounter tokens on either path leading to the goblin camp or the gnoll camp, and then eventually we can get to the outpost wall. So here we are at our first location, and everything that happens in this location will be under kind of section A with different numbers. And you'll see first it sees whether we've been here before. It says if there's no XP at this location, we go to A1. Otherwise, collect the XP from this location and continue reading. That's how the game kind of tracks where you've been. We do have an experience, this little blue cube here. So that goes in our experience spot on our campaign track. And now if we came back to the prairie, it would know we had been here before. As you look out over the lake, a voice calls from a thicket behind you. Care to join me? You turn to discover a friendly halfling roasting apples and hares by his fire. You look like you could use a meal. You disregard the halfling and he chuckles, then stands to salute you. Tarek Nolan, special operative of King Taran, confidant of the immortal knight, and bearer of bad news and terrible secrets. Now come, eat and rest, for we have hard work ahead of us. As you eat, Tarek speaks in a hushed voice. The lake below is dark, for the Dragul filled it with the blood and ashes of their dead. Our mission is to secure the outpost. The northern shore is guarded by an encampment of goblins, weak but many. Gnolls stand watch to the south. We need to eliminate both camps, so take your pick. You go one way and I'll go the other. Burn down their camp to signal your progress. I'll do the same. Tarek pulls something from his pack and tosses it to you. We'll need this at the gate. So the game instructs me to take discovery card 65. These are never shuffled. In this case, it is a bluestone fireball. And now I have 2 options. I can either use an item or move to another location. And just because it's funny and to show you how it works, if you want to use an item, you take the item's number, which was 65, and you combine it with the location. So we'll go to A65 and see what happens. Okay, if you have either of the keywords alarm or clear, A2, we don't. To Tarek's alarm, you casually begin to uncork the blue potion. Not here, he cries, grabbing your hands to stop you. Any exposure to air and the fireball will explode, which would be very loud and could easily kill us. Let's try to stay quiet and alive. Save the fireball for the gate. Okay, so we can use another item or move, and clearly we're going to move. So we have to pick one of the 2 locations. I did the goblins last time, so let's go ahead and check out the gnoll camp. But along our way, we're going to check out encounter number 2. And this would be randomized, although this time I made sure I had the one I didn't have last time. So we go to a different book, the Tome of Encounters, and we find the encounter that matches first our adventure number, number 1, and then the encounter we had, number 2. By the faint light of the crescent moon, you make your way through a grove of ancient trees. You discover a thin line of twine running across your path and up a tree, where rusty pots and pans hang from the branches. The forest around you is laced with these tripwires. Any false move will alert the Dragul to your presence. So I have 2 choices, and this will lead to a skill check, so we'll get to see how the dice work. I can either try to disarm the trap, and it does show me that uses dexterity and intelligence, or I can carefully sneak through it, which uses dexterity and wisdom. And looking at my character, I'm pretty good at either of these, but I have a little bit of an edge in wisdom, so let's go for sneaking through. No point in taking down the trap so they know I was here. So based on that, I go to 1-6. You do your best to creep your way past the many tripwires that the Dragul have set up on the path to their encampment. Okay, so this explains all of its skill check, but I'll explain that to you. But it does say I'm doing a skill check, Stealth 1, and I need to see if I pass or fail. So at least in this prototype, there are 4 types of skill checks. Let's zoom in on stealth. And you'll see there are 4 levels of stealth checks, and they get pretty ridiculous later on. But we're doing a level 1. It's very faint on TTS, but it says die limit 4. And then we've got 3 dice spots we need to fill. And here's the basics of success and failure in a skill check. I'm going to roll 4 dice, and I need to put a black 2, a white 1, and a white or black 6 to complete the skill check. If I miss any of those out of my 4 dice after manipulating them with my cards, I fail. And note that the black and the white dice spots each have a blue cube underneath. That means if I fill them, I'll get an experience point for each one I fill, whether I succeed or fail. So you can still get stuff even if you do poorly. So let's get into the basics of skill checks. Remember it said I had a dice limit of 4. Now, I can move a number of stamina cubes to my fatigue box from my statistics, and for each one I move, I'm going to get a die of the indicated color. So, by moving one of my dexterity cubes, I will now have 1 black die, but then I'm going to draw dice at random from the bag to make up the difference. So let's say I spent, for example, 2 black and 1 white. I would get automatically 2 black dice and 1 white die. Then I'd shuffle the rest of the dice in the bag and I would draw a random one for my 4th. And by the way, this is fully balanced for player count, so if I was playing with 3 players, we would need 3 dexterity cubes moved to fatigue total to be able to get that 1 die. So I've drawn the 2 black and 1 white die I paid for. I'm going to get a random one, and it is green, which probably won't help me at all. So now we go ahead and roll these. And I ended up with, nice, the exact value I needed for one of the spots. But I don't have a white 1 and I don't have a white or black 6 yet. So let's go look at my skill cards and see what I can do to manipulate them. So remember, I've got these 7 skills from my character. And if we look at our campaign board, currently our play limit is 1, which means each player can only play 1 character. Hey, this is Mike with a big rules mistake here. I was supposed to make the party play limit for cards 4 per player when I'm playing solo, just to kind of balance it, because if there were 4 players, we could each play 1, so with 1 player I can play 4. So my entire adventure is going to be a lot tougher than it should be, because I'll need to work around the fact that I'm not using nearly enough cards for mitigation. So just keep that in mind as you see me struggle. Now I could use this bonus play card token to get a second play. We'll see if I need it. So let's see what my options are. The Unholy Flail will increase the value of a black or purple die by 1 or 2, which would get me closer to that 6. Mirage would let me roll an extra purple die. But because it has this little symbol up here, that means it is exhausted and I won't be able to use it again until I rest. Loyal lets me change a die of any color into purple or blue, which I don't need. Sense Evil lets me flip a black or red die from its current face to the opposite face. I think that's going to be key. Chain Tunic lets me re-roll a red or white die. Leather Greaves a purple or black die. And Climb lets me flip the face of a green die. So looking back over here, I can clearly do the 2 black. And with my flipping ability, I can flip the black die to a 6. But using Sense Evil for that would already be my single play. And that means I have no way to make my 4 white into the 1 I need to finish the stealth check. But let's not forget, I do have my rogue ability, Mischievous. It says move 1 gold from the party journal to my fatigue box. Play 1 skill card for each gold in your fatigue box. These do not count against the play limit, and this gold cannot be spent. So basically, I'm stealing gold from the party to give myself the chance to play more cards. Now, will it make a difference? There's a pretty good chance not. White is one of my worst things. I probably should have chosen the intelligence check now that I look at it. But I do have a cloth tunic that lets me reroll a white die. 1 in 6 chance of making it. Might as well try. So let's yoink one of our gold coins, put it in our fatigue box, use the chain tunic, and try our luck. Ooh! Oh my gosh. I love Tabletop Simulator and the physics because I could see the 2 slowly change into a 1. That was dumb. Totally shouldn't have happened, but I did it. So I did pass the skill check. We'll look at that in a second, but I do get 2 experience for my efforts. There we go. We got 3 total. Now, because neither of the cards I use have the little exhaust symbol, I get them right back to use on the next encounter. It's only when you have longer combats or several skill checks in a row that it's going to really matter, and you'll have to kind of watch which skills you use. I'm also going to return all 4 of my dice to the skill bag, and now I finally get to see what happened. Pass, you sneak past the trap, go to 111. With great skill and precision, you pass through the tripwires and head toward the Dragul camp, prepared to take them by surprise. You hope that the rogue is having as much luck on his side of the lake. Well, there's a double rogue adventure here. So we get another keyword, clear. We'll just put that right underneath Zalek. Tarek is handling his side of the lake. Remove the other encounter token from the adventurer map and return it to the box. So we missed our chance to deal with the first encounter. Tarek took care of it. Then it says we continue to 114. Before heading forward to the camp, you take a moment to catch your breath. The crescent moon reflects eerily off the glassy black surface of the water. So now we can rest or move to the next location, but we want to show how resting works, so let's do that. So when you rest, you have to return at least 1 experience to the supply, although you can do more to heal more stamina, but 1 should be enough for us. And then each player gets to roll a number of dice equal to the amount of experience spent. 2. And we get to heal that much fatigue from our board. Now, regardless of how much we healed, we still refill our stat lines. So here I actually had to get a new cube to finish filling up wisdom because one of the ones I had originally is over here. So you'll have your full stats available, but separately fatigue is checking how close you are to reaching your health. If you get to 16, you're fully exhausted. If I had any spent cards, I would also get them back, but I don't. And then I'm actually not able to find it right now in TTS, but there is a little rest tracker that you flip. Basically, you can't rest again until you've had at least one encounter or battle, so you can't just keep on resting and resting. Okay, so now it says we get to move to the next location on our path. So here we go, we've reached the gnoll camp, which of course does have an experience token on it, because this is our first time here. And since that's location C, I go to the C section of the adventure book. And this time we have a bunch of keys to check, and we go to the first entry that applies. So it says if there's no XP, we go to C1, but of course there is. Then it says otherwise collect the XP, so we get it. Then it asks if we have the keyword goblin, we don't. If we have the keyword alarm, we don't. So since we have the keyword clear, that's going to be what we do, and we're going to keep reading this entry. 3 dog-faced creatures huddle around a single campfire. You approach downwind, but smell no roasting meat. A hungry gnoll is a vicious foe, so you approach from behind in the space of their own shadows. Your iron strikes one down and then another before the last can get to her feet. She snarls at you and pulls a burning branch from the fire, waving it wildly to defend herself. So we're going to get to show you how combat works, not too different from skill checks. And note this time we have a modifier. The gnoll is cornered, which is going to affect how the fight goes. And we'll see whether we win or lose. So first, just looking at the gnoll card, you'll see that it looks very similar to what we just did. I've got a green 1, a white 2, and a blue or red 2 that I have to roll. But this time there's some additional things. Under each die is a red value and the blue is experience. The experience is the same. If I ever fill these spots, I'll get that experience value. But the red is the fatigue I'll suffer in each round of combat, because combat goes through up to 3 rounds using this little green tracker. And basically for each uncovered spot at the end of each round, I will take that much fatigue, just extra white cubes being placed, not taken from my skill tracks. So if, for example, I rolled nothing the first round, I would take the 1 right here before the tracker moves on to it, +2, +3, 9 fatigue, almost knocking me out all by itself. Now I do have cornered, and this card says at the start of each round of combat, add 1 random die from the bag to the dice pool. This does not count against the party's combat dice limit. And our combat dice limit in this case is currently 3, although you can increase that by leveling up. So we'll have 3 dice to fight this gnoll in each round, plus a free 4th one because he's cornered. And we want green, white, and blue or red. So let's see, green and white I have some of, and then I clearly have more red than blue. So let's do just a green and a red the first round. I'll save my 1 white. That'll mean I'll get 1 random die from the bag, and then another random die because he's cornered. So here's the green and red I paid for. I get another green and a black. So neither one are the white or blue that I wanted. And we'll zoom out a bit so we can see everything for this battle. Let's see how we do in our first round. All right, a lot of really high values. I did get a red 2 right off the bat. That's nice. Ooh, and climb will be exhausted, but that lets me flip 2 green dice to the opposite value. So I'll go ahead and use that, but it does have the skill icon, so it is flipped. But I'm climbing up to a better advantage and jumping down to strike this guy. But I have no way to change a die to white. Wisdom is definitely my weak point right now. Now, I did not defeat the gnoll, so I'm suffering 3 fatigue plus 1 as this moves over to show we're in the second round. I'm taking 4 total. So there we go. That guy hit me pretty hard. And dice I've placed stay on his card, but the other ones go back to the dice bag. Now for this round, all I want is white, so I'm going to go ahead and spend my only wisdom cube, and then I'll draw 3 random dice from the bag, and hopefully they'll be wisdom. Now you can, by the way, spend 3 of any other types of cubes as kind of like a wild option, so I could spend some dexterity, for example, to get an extra guaranteed wisdom. And you know what the hey, let's go ahead and do it, because I think I'm probably going to try to rest after this. I do have 11 fatigue, which means even if he does his 4 to me, I shouldn't die. All right, so I've got my 2 automatic white dice. Come on, yes! Okay, I still need to roll the right number, but this is pretty good. All right, so I need a 2 white, and the only mitigation I have is using my chain tunic to re-roll 1. Come on, come on! Yes, there we go, awesome. So I did defeat the gnoll, which is lucky because I spent a lot. So I don't have to suffer his end of round effect, which would have taken an experience from me, and I gain 2 experience now that he's defeated. So that was pretty tough, but we survived, made it up to 5. Looking over here, I drive her away from the camp, go to C3. The gnolls retreat from your blades and flee back toward their homeland in the north. As they run, you set fire to their tents. By the light of the burning camp, you find something the cowards left behind. Alright, so I get discovery card 86, and I record gnoll to show I've defeated them. Another fire rises from across the lake. You trust that Tarek is making good progress and will meet you at the fortified gate ahead. So 86, my find is a lodestone pendant. And now I've got another keyword. And I'm about to be given the chance to use an item again, and you can actually do combinations of 2, which means I would look up 65 and 86 with the lower number first. And what the hey, it's fun, let's try it out. Finding no use for these items together, you decide to play a game. You hang the bluestone fireball from the chain of the lodestone pendant and whirl it around over your head. I'm an idiot. Then you hurl the fireball into the air as high as you can, catching it again before it hits the ground. Fortunately, you are good at playing catch, so you do not explode yourself in the middle of the gnoll encampment. When your game is over, you feel reinvigorated. We each get to add 1 stamina to our strength attribute from the supply, ignoring the usual limit we could go above. Then we could use another item, but I think we're good for now. So we can rest and then move. We're definitely going to rest. Now with that resting, that extra strength won't really make a difference because we're going to refill anyway. We have to decide how many dice to roll, how much experience to spend. We have 6, 9, 11. Yikes. So I think spending 2 experience, if we roll decently, should leave us in a pretty safe space. So let's try. That's going to take us down to 3 remaining. Let's hope for a good roll. 7, average, I can take that. So we refill all our stat lines and we have 4 fatigue left over. Alright, now we can move on. Now it seems kind of silly to go back to the prairie, so let's head over to the outpost wall. Okay, if you have the keyword open, D2, we don't. If there's no XP here, there is, we skip that. Otherwise, collect the XP and continue reading. You approach the fortified outpost as the moon sets, leaving you in utter darkness. Behind you, twin fires burn on either side of the shimmering black lake. You feel your way across the rough wood of the outpost's massive gate, but you can find no handle or latch, yet the gate holds firm. It must be barred from within. Behind this wall, the Dragul are protecting a powerful artifact. Tarek Nolan, the halfling, is nowhere in sight. So we could rest again, but we can't because we haven't have a skill check or combat to let us, but we can use an item, and we know which one to use, right? Let's go to D65 to use our fireball. You uncork the bluestone fireball at the base of the fortified gate and run for cover. A thunderous explosion tears a wide, flaming hole in the wall, giving you passage through. So we record the keyword open, the one it asked about before. We reveal discovery card 16 and place 1 XP on it, and we lose discovery card 65, then we can move. And here, look at this, because this is pretty neat. The new discovery card is actually a new location, the outpost interior, which is where we will be moving. So, going to the outpost interior, if you have the title Revealer of Secrets, no. Rogue's Accomplice, no. Aid to Ogre, no, we don't have any of those. Otherwise, collect the XP and continue reading. For those keeping track, we have 5. You pass through the smoldering hole and enter the Dragul outpost. Its massive wooden walls are solid but roughly constructed. They enclose an open space, empty except for a single chest of white metal and a gray-skinned ogre who stands before it with an iron club. The ogre shouts in the Dragul language. It's gibberish to you, as if he were making all the sounds, but none of the sense of Nalos Common. Between his angry cries, he smashes the metal chest with such force that it shakes the ground around you. But the chest only rings out a remarkably pleasant tone. It remains unbroken, undented, and firmly in place. In rage, the ogre approaches you, shouting and swinging his club wildly. As you watch his outburst, you catch a glimpse of something moving in the shadows behind him. Tarek Nolan, blade drawn, carefully approaches the ogre from the other side of the outpost. So we can either attack the ogre, or we can try to understand what he's saying, which is intelligence and wisdom. Well, we have 1 wisdom and 0 intelligence. I think it's a fight time. So we go to E2. The ogre throws himself at you with all the ferocity of a cornered animal. He swings his iron club wildly and races toward you. Okay, so we are fighting Tog. So yikes, he's definitely tougher than the last guy and still has that white die that's going to probably mess us up. And no black dice. My dexterity is not helping me at all in open combat. No modifier card this time, and we still have a dice limit of 3. We're not getting a free 4th one. So let's go ahead and try this out. Oh, and I should have noted my 1 spent card does come back since I rested. Alright, I think I'll spend 1 constitution and 1 strength to get a green and red for sure. And then I'll just hope I get a white or blue for my 3rd die. Alright, come on, come on. Blue, good. And another green. Okay, I'll take it. All right, let's see what we can do. Okay, that red fell right on top. Okay. Nothing is exactly what I wanted. Looking at my options, I can add a purple. No. I can manipulate a black or purple. No. I can change any die to a blue or a purple. So I could change the green 3 to a blue 3. That would take care of that. With Sense Evil, I can flip a black or red die to its opposite face. Which, let's see, if I could add one to that red die first, it could flip to the 5. Climb, I can flip up to 2 green dice, but neither of them is the one that would make them a 6. Chain Tunic, I can re-roll. Leather Greaves, I can re-roll nothing. So let's start out with Loyal. We'll go ahead and change that green 3 to a blue 3. I could use another gold, put it here, and that would let me play 2 more skill cards. That would let me use Chain Tunic to re-roll my red die, and if I got either a 2 or a 5, I'd be able to place it using Sense Evil for my second skill play. Yeah, I think I want to do it. I don't want to take that much stamina damage. So first we'll use Chain Tunic, and again we need a 2 or a 5. 4 is not going to cut it. So the second skill play I got is not going to help at all. So I'm taking 3, 5, 7 stamina and losing an experience. So yikes, the big cubes represent 5. I have 13 out of my 16. I am almost knocked out. Now I do get back my Loyal and Chain Tunic for the next round. But yeah, my chances here seem very slim. I can spend up to 2 stamina to get specific colors, but I can't spend more than that or I would knock myself out. So, geez, I don't know. Let's spend white and a green and then hope I draw a red. I have almost no chance here. Oh, okay, I do have the colors I need. That doesn't mean much, but it's something. Come on, let's get the exact numbers. Or none at all. So, yipes, I don't think any of my skills are going to help much here. Sense Evil will let me flip the red to a 6. My Chain Tunic would let me re-roll the red or the white. Now, I do want to still try to get the bonuses he gives me, so I guess that's the best I can try for. And the red has the highest chance of giving me something. Yay! Oh, wait, crud, I still need to... Oh, I know, I can use my bonus play token. Goes over here to show it's used. Instead of spending a gold, and I'll use Sense Evil. Flip this to a 5, and I'll have hurt him a little bit. But then he's doing 3, 5, 9 stamina to me, way more than I can take. Now you do stop at 16, so yay, I guess. And now I get to mark the leftmost spot on the death track and read that entry in the Tome of Encounters. You sit down to rest, and your vision becomes distorted, as if a rippling curtain of fog were passing between you and the world. When the fog lifts, you find yourself in a stone hallway, cold and dark. An old woman approaches from the darkness, wearing a black hood that obscures her face. Her voice is warm and kind. "It's good to see you resting," she says. "Azima's world is full of struggle and a soul grows weary." She finds a smooth flagstone and sits down beside you. "Oh dear," she complains. "This floor never gets any softer. But look, I've come to give you something." She extends a bony hand from the sleeve of her cloak, revealing a bag of glass marbles. Each marble contains a small, compressed creature looking angry and uncomfortable. You reach in and grab one. Okay, reveal rare card 7, record the keyword passage, and recover. Roll 1 die and remove all experience from the party journal that exceeds the roll result. For example, if you roll a 3, you only keep 3 experience. Each player rolls 1 die and removes all stamina from your fatigue box that exceeds the roll result. Then remove all bonus play tokens from your fatigue box, put them back on the party journal, great. Fill your attributes back to their attribute limit. Return all spent cards to your hand. Flip your class ability card face up. Whoops, I guess I was supposed to flip that down. And if you've just completed an encounter, move to the next location. If your party marker is already at a location, read the base entry for that location instead. Alright, so let's see. I lose 2 experience. And I go down to 2 fatigue. And I guess I just kind of rewind back to E again. We see the ogre again. Gosh, should we try to understand him this time? I guess so. The attacking didn't work out well. Okay, E3. As Tarek creeps closer, you try to understand what the ogre is saying. Dragul and Nalos Kamen are not completely divorced. 1,000 years ago, when all of Ulos lived in peace, the 2 languages were a single tongue. But after all these centuries of separation, it's no simple task for you to comprehend the ogre's angry rants. Okay, we're doing interpretation 1. Good, I don't have too much confidence here. I need a white, a blue, and then a white or a blue. Okay, I'll definitely spend a white since that's all that applies. But hey, let's go for broke. Let's do 1, 2, 3 to get a second white, and 1, 2, 3 to get a blue. Let's have a bit of strength left. So I'm making my meager brain work overtime. Come on. Okay, a purple. Charisma. Seems like it should help here, but nope. Let's see how lucky we start out. Oh, wow. Okay, I got a 4 and a 2. That's pretty good. That's 2 of them. All I need is a 3 blue. Okay, I got a 5 and a 5. Is there anything I can do? Ooh, actually, I have a lot of things I can do. Because I can change any color to a blue, I can add a purple die, I can re-roll a purple die, I can increase the value of a purple die. So we're definitely going to use my rogue skill again and lose even more money, but I think we can make this work. So first, let's flip Mirage for an extra purple die. So that's my single free card play, and if I can get a 3, I'm already done. Yes! Where my intelligence failed, my charisma came through. I'm going to go ahead and use Loyal, change any color to a blue. So this purple becomes a blue. I interpret the heck out of that thing. Boom! And 2 experience for us. Okay, so I roughly understand the ogre's meaning, E8. Paying careful attention to the ogre's speech, you can tell that he is angry about the chest and whatever's inside it. He introduces himself as Tog, and he tells you that the Dragul invasion was meant to bring home artifacts like the one at his feet. After all the death and suffering of this war, he has finally reached his mission's end, but he can neither move the chest nor open its lid. As he speaks, Tog sinks into despair. His homeland is gone, the invasion has failed, and where will the Dragul go now? His are the complaints of an invader who killed many of your compatriots and now is disappointed in his own losses at war. But your efforts to understand him have kept his attention fixed on you, allowing the halfling in black to creep ever closer to the ogre. A moment more and Tog's life will be over. Now, last time this guy died, so let's see if we can keep him alive. I'm going to warn him so he can escape. E9. Look out, you cry! Tog is startled and leaps backward, knocking Tarek to the ground. When he sees that you have saved him from assassination, the ogre grunts his gratitude to you, climbs the wall of the outpost, and leaps into the darkness beyond. Tarek stands and dusts himself off. Needless to say, I'm not impressed, he says. Warning an adversary of my attack is nigh treasonous. Nevertheless, your mission is accomplished. The ogre has fled, and we are here with the chest. You examine the area around the chest and find that the ogre left behind his coin purse, gain 4 gold, and reveal title card 1. Lots more gold, and I do have to use my extra card play so I can save gold for my rogue ability to get the extra card to change the die color. And title cards are cool. The little keywords we're writing down, they go away after this mission, but this one, that I am an aide to an ogre, will stay with us for the entire campaign. Oh, and then we also lose favor with our empire that we serve and gain favor with the Dragul. I'm not sure if that's good. Those are also permanent things, so I have -1 King's favor and +1 Dragul favor now. Continuing, if you have both the keywords Goblin and Alarm, no. Both the keywords Goblin and Clear, no. Gnoll and Alarm, okay. Gnoll and Clear, E15. Now that the outpost is calm, Tarek relaxes on a tree stump and carves slices from an apple. Allow me to compliment you, he says, on your stealthy approach to the Gnoll camp. I heard no sound at all from your side of the lake, not until I heard the Gnolls screaming to their gods for mercy. Well done. Continue to E21. Tarek points to the metal chest with an apple wedge. All that's left for me, he says, is to figure out what's locked inside. Upon closer inspection, you discover the white metal of the chest to be Durgolium, an ancient alloy forged to contain objects from other planes. No force will crack it. Its lid must yield to some other secret. You find a pear-shaped indentation above its keyhole. Tarek notices your interest in the chest. You can return to your regiment now if you like, or you can stay and help me open it. Okay, so we could end here. We could also use an item or rest. Let's try using an item. We've got the little pendant. So that's E86. The lodestone pendant holds fast to the pear-shaped indentation on the chest, and you hear something click within. You give it a kick, but the chest does not open. The keyhole remains empty. So we can move to another location, and we can just bounce wherever we want now. So let's go to the goblin camp and see if Tarek missed anything. So we're in B. We get to collect the experience. And then it says if we have the keyword Gnoll, we go to B7. So that lets the game know we went the other way. Ashes are all that remains of the goblin encampment. There are no tracks, no bodies, and no stains of blood on the earth. No trace of the battle remains, not even any evidence of Tarek's approach or exit. A few crude spearheads are the only sign that goblins ever camped here. If you didn't know better, you would have guessed that this was the site of some long-forgotten goblin village, founded ages ago when Nalos and the Dragul lived in harmony. It's as if Tarek blasted the poor creatures into ancient history. He is a more formidable operative than you had supposed. A light breeze shifts the ashes, revealing something Tarek overlooked. There we go, reveal discovery card 95. And hey, it's almost like I've done this before, knew it was there. 95 is the ancient key. Let's go back to Tarek. Ooh, now a little different this time. We do have the title Aid to Ogre. Let's see what it says. Tarek sits near the closed Orgolium chest, eating his apple. Well, he asked, still irritated, did your ogre friend tell you the secret of this chest? Okay, so let's use an item. This time we'll do the combination. You press the lodestone pendant to the pear-shaped indentation on the chest and insert the ancient key. There's a click of mechanisms within which allows you to turn the key. The chest pops open. Okay, we do gain the King's Favor back, so we're back to 0, and we reveal title card 2. So now we're an Aid to Ogre and a Revealer of Secrets. As the chest pops open, the earth quakes and the sky crackles with strange purple energy. For a moment, you hear the screech of bats and you smell a briny sea. Tarek holds forth a chainmail sack of the same white metal as the chest. Quickly, grab the object and place it in here! You reach inside the chest and pull forth a plain glass jar of translucent gray material. Strange, colorful images pass through the material, as if it were displaying the dreams of another world. You place this curiosity in Tarek's Dargolium sack. Immediately, earth and sky are still. A fine discovery, Tarek says, admiring the jar through the chainmail links. I've only seen one other like it. Then he pauses to consider you for a moment. Okay, if my King's Favor is 1 or higher, it is not, because I let that guy escape, so we go to each one. Tarek frowns. I'll be hanging on to this, he says, tucking the jar into his pack. But now that you've seen its power, I have no choice but to recruit you. He pulls several empty Dargolium chainmail sacks from his pack and hands them to you. There are Dargolium vaults hidden all over Nalos, says Tarek. Each holds an object of great power. We cannot let them fall into the wrong hands. By the King's order, we must gather as many as we can, and with haste. Alright, and we could rest or move, but we're just going to go to the end. Your mission at Black Lake has ended, and Tarek Nolan wishes you Godspeed as you return to your regiment. My own mission takes me elsewhere, he tells you, but I have a feeling we will meet again. As you travel back, you have time to collect your thoughts and puzzle over the things you've seen. Okay, so now we look at our titles. Aid to Ogre. You think back on Tog, the ogre who you spared from Tarek's blade. His look of gratitude is still fresh in your mind. Strange that at the end of this long war, you have finally made a bit of peace. He complained that artifacts had been stolen from the Dragul city-states, and you wonder if their invasion of Nalos might somehow be related to this theft. In any case, somewhere in Nalos wanders an ogre who owes you a debt of gratitude. And then Revealer of Secrets, you wonder about the power of the jar that was hidden in that Dargolium chest. How could such a small object shake the earth and rend the sky? Strange images floated through the material inside it. The jar must be an illusion or else from another plane, for nothing like those images exists anywhere in Ulos. And finally, we look at who we agreed with. We did Zalek. Upon your return, you find your regiment preparing to march. Orders to move west, a soldier tells you, to the swamps. You report to Commander Zalek, who greets you somberly. They are off on one fool's errand, and you another, I'm afraid. He hands you a letter from King Terran. It seems the king's hometown has been attacked by a giant troll, and he wants someone to bring him its head. That someone will be you, says Zalek. I'm still concerned about cult activity in the capital, so I will wait for you there. Zalek nods and bids you farewell. You head toward the coast. After a 2-day march, you can smell brine in the air and hear the caw of gulls. Soon you will arrive in the halfling town of Jolev, where you must fetch the head of a troll for your king. Okay, and that's it, because we do have Revealer of Secrets, so we can advance and clean up. So we ended up with 5 experience, and some of our options for advancement. First, we can spend 3 experience to move up the mastery track, and that'll let each person in our party raise one of their attributes by 1, but not exceeding 4. So I could, for example, get a white cube for intelligence or charisma, or a second one for wisdom. We could also increase our bonus play limit, and the cost of that is our current play limit plus bonus play limit plus 5, so that'd be 7. We can't afford that. And combat dice is even more expensive. It's our current 1, 3 plus 5, that'd be 8. And our final option is to increase our health so we can survive longer. If you're under 25, it costs 1 XP for each increase. If you're equal or over, it costs 2. So I guess I could increase my health to 18 and then maybe up my wisdom, because I've got lots of ways to influence intelligence and charisma. And then I can buy new cards. Let's see, I've got, 10 money. What you do is you take each of these 5 decks and you flip over the top card of each. The cost is in the upper right, so Energy Field, which would give me 2 extra blue dice, would cost 8. Move Silently would cost 7, but minus my dexterity, so for me it would only cost 4. Selfish would let me change a 1 into any color, but it costs 6. Ooh, Sling, decrease the value of a blue or green die by 1 or 2. And a Runic Amulet, change a purple die up or down 1 value. I'm thinking in kind of my roguish style, I'd probably get Move Silently for 4, Sling for 5, and keep 1 going forward. But there you go, that was the introductory adventure for Role Player Adventures. Hope you enjoyed it. Click the link that just popped up if you want to see my review of just what I've played. Clearly it's not a ton of the content yet. Good gaming, and I'll see you at the next stop.